I'm someone who prides what my emotions were for a show above all else, and I want to attempt to explain those emotions through an analysis. I wouldn't like a show if it didn't make me feel an emotion. If show X was so sad but what happens was well done, it would be equal to a positive emotion because I appreciate well done stories. Whatever the case may be, I simply want to explain why I enjoy the things I do. I believe wholeheartedly that we can't find an objective route for talking about shows, therefore each line uttered is inherently personal, with levels of that varying depending on the piece and what your style is. But in saying this, how much does how and when we view something affect our review of it? Let's say I was living in nihilistic despair and decided to phone up BoJack Horseman. Not only is the show conveyed excellently, but it will likely affect me even deeper based on those circumstances. But even without the dramatic relation, something as simple as viewing it in a dark room may change the show for me. I recently watched the first episode of Sailor Moon after not having seen the show in well over 5 years. Sailor Moon is a long-running TV anime meant for kids. You'd come home from school, grab a little something to eat, and watch cartoons for a bit before moving on to homework. Maybe flop down on the floor enamored by the visuals, or leaning back on the couch relaxed. In any case, this show was designed to be running along with those kids, not for some weirdo to haphazardly crouch over his laptop with his back clinging to a bed of pillows. That small instance may change how I view the show entirely, and that's why I didn't go on with it that night. Instead of thinking about what's in front of me relaxing or getting hyped as most kids are meant to, I'm thinking about my seating arrangement, or thinking about how weird I am to be holed up in my room watching a girl's show. Yet, if I were to marathon 30 or so episodes lying on the couch, I'd probably do fine. The living room is the ideal TV watching experience because it's designed around that. The TV and couch always stick out like a sore thumb because they're fitting of each other. My laptop is made to write and browse the internet, which is fine for writing this video on or going on 4chan, but actually trying to stay focused on a show meant to be viewed differently is not easy. These were made with television in mind. Movies are an even bigger case of this. I stand by my claim that Spirited Away is a film you can only see in theaters. You can't fully appreciate the majesty brought to every detail until it's blasted in your face at giant size. Not to mention the sound system of the theater adds to the emotional pathos when all the right music and visuals key up to the story, like the scene where Chihiro and that love interest guy are falling out of the sky. I cried at that scene for the first time after having seen it before, because the film was tailored to be viewed in a theater that way. I bring all this up because I recently watched the crappy OVA series called Galaxy Freylewine Yuna on VHS. Add up the terrible voice acting with the subpar characters and you have a pretty forgettable anime. But what was memorable about it was the previews beforehand. Shows like City Hunter and Dirty Pair proudly displayed with some sick 90s music backing it on my CRT television as I lie on the couch in the dark. This is how the preview was meant to be seen, and it certainly got an emotion out of me. As a VHS release, ADV Films knew this would be viewed as home entertainment. Thus, the packaging is wrapped in montage format. Previews have a connotation of being this sort of home media, and that's all the preview needed to be. It completely utilized that fact out of great clip choice and ear-pumping music. The point is to show off the aesthetic, something fans of 90s anime value quite heavily, from the distinct hair and feeling of Dirty Pair to the edgy gunplay of City Hunter. Most American fans of these shows were teenagers and young adults, either after a hard day of college or sneaking one by their parents to view gore and titties. I can see the low-costing pizza after being dolled up in the microwave and the obsessive room covered in posters and video games in which these fans lie ready to enjoy this anime on the graveyard shift. These anime distributors saw this as well. Oftentimes, the fans would watch an anime for being at the selection of Blockbuster, finding the good in it through the sheer love of the art and medium. It didn't have to be perfect, it just had to appeal to that schlocky otaku youngster. This is exemplified by The Night. Most of us are pretty tired and want to get to bed. That shows through. It's somewhere between dreaming and being immersed in media as well as everything surrounding you. That sleazy, nostalgic sweet spot is one of the most genuine genuinely emotional things I get out of media. But let's say I didn't watch this VHS with that context in mind, living in this context. I throw it on in the day while working out or something. My view of the show will be completely different because I'm not experiencing the same show, and I'm not experiencing the same part of myself. That personal connection is lost, and my opinion of the show will change drastically. This is why I care so much about how and where I watch shows, because without that extra bit of thoughtfulness, I could lose out on some incredible experiences.